Hello, Tim and Guy here, and welcome to the worst idea of all time, Season 5.
This season we are watching the French-originated softcore pornography series, Emmanuelle.
Because why not?
These films contain some anachronistic and downright problematic scenes from time to time.
Which we will not be discussing to keep our podcast a stupid and friendly place to be.
Also, you do not need to watch these films, as always, so just enjoy the show.
We're watching the movies, so you don't have to. Happy listening, everybody. That would be a reprise of the theme that permeates Emmanuelle 2, the musical theme that is. In terms of thematics, I would say this film is an advertisement for open marriages.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the worst idea of all time, season number 5. That's 5. And this season, we are watching the entire Emmanuelle collection of erotica films. Was it a good idea? Time will tell. I suspect possibly not.
We have just watched Emmanuelle 2, the tagline of which is, "In love, it is better to give and to receive."
Hey, it's like Christmas.
I'm Emmanuelle.
And I'm Tim Beck.
I can show you how to do both.
The subtitle of this film, the French, I believe, translates to The Joys of a Woman. And there are many joys of a woman.
Yeah.
A lovely hug.
Fantastic company.
A lot of them are really good drivers.
Robust conversation.
Some of them can do statistics.
I find across the board, women are...
What's your favorite joy of a woman, Guy?
Desirable company. How could I hate women? Me mum's one.
I didn't realize Ricky Gervais was joining us as a special guest.
So yes, Emmanuelle, the Joys of a Woman, or its original title, Emmanuelle l'Antiviage, is a 1975 French softcore erotica film directed by Francis Giacobetti.
Now, we must front load with this. This entire film is in French, and this time there were no subtitles.
That's right. I did think this installment of the Emmanuelle franchise suffered somewhat from taking place entirely in a language that neither of us understand. What does it leave you with? Great question. Essentially, 1.5 hours of
handsome man.
Wealthy French people in a city I believe to be Hong Kong, a city and country? City-state.
What's the deal with Hong Kong?
I believe to be Hong Kong. I don't know enough to wade into the world of having an opinion, but from what I can tell, it's not good. They're frustrated, and China is rude.
What's happening in Hong Kong right now? Yeah, totally. That's a different podcast. We're here to talk about Emmanuelle 2.
Yeah.
I wish they called it that. Simple.
Well, they kind
French of
did. So if you don't understand what is being said, you're watching just like wealthy French either diplomats or layabouts sort of.
Oh, come on, let's put a stake in the ground here. Here's what I reckon. Mr. Mrs. Emmanuelle, I reckon definitely a diplomat.
Called Gene.
He's got a little mustache and he looks like the guy whose name I forget from, what's the real good series about Pablo Escobar?
Narcos.
Yeah. Agent Pena.
Haven't seen it.
Man, he looks like that guy.
He looks like a real-life version of a character that would be drawn in Archer.
He's also in Star Wars, which more people will know, but I'm not a Star Wars guy, so I don't have the reference to hand. Apologies.
He's a diplomat.
Space nerds.
He lives in Hong Kong. His wife, Emmanuelle, arrives to... fuck?
Yeah, man. So this is a different Emmanuelle. This is not your dad's Emmanuelle. In the first movie, very shy, like a little flower that hasn't quite opened up yet. In this one, blam. Here she is. Very confident, strident, smoking a cigar, which I took as a real sign of empowerment and confidence. I ran out of synonyms. And I loved it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
He's out there kicking ass, taking names.
Same Emmanuelle, different husband, similar setup. Here's a guy kicking it on the government's dime instead of Thailand, Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Here is a woman who is excited to bone her husband, yes, but also literally anyone who will bone her. And so the film begins in earnest. The two of them meet one another. It turns out that Gene, this diplomat husband, Mr. Emmanuelle, has been keeping company with a beautiful guy who loves to have a bath and drink a couple of tall boys in the bath.
We called him Bath Boy because we didn't catch his name, but it could be Christopher or it might be Michael. We're not sure, but holy smokes, you could set your watch to that chin. The guy is unfathomably handsome. And there's something about these beautiful 70s film that have a little bit of ass on the lens that just makes everything all the more beautiful because there's less definition.
You know what? That is one
Your brain's
thing
filling in a couple pixels for you.
I will say for this film is it is beautifully shot.
Wonderful.
On location. I mean, the every visual detail of this film delights.
Yeah. Truly, it's a sumptuous feast for the eyes. The lighting's really good, and I think.
And we're not just talking about the erotica.
Yeah, nice. I'm pretty sure they're using.
We're talking about everything.
I still don't have a firm grasp on this, but anamorphic lenses for a lot of those close-ups. You remember that conversation where there's no two shots, so we're just seeing Emmanuelle and Anna Marie talking, and it's just boom, 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 real close up. But like it looks awesome. I'm pretty sure it was done with an anamorphic lens.
I mean, I don't know what that is.
They're like, I think it's a you know how widescreen is 16:9. Anamorphic is even like longer than that.
Oh wow!
But then you kind of like crush it back in together. It gives you a cool light effect.
Whatever it is,
I probably got that a bit wrong.
It looks fantastic,
it does.
And it's. I mean, what is there to say about this? They're rich.
in the credits, it's got chief apparently in French is chef, so it's got like the chef machinist and the chef electrician.
I love that,
and it really tickled me to think of a Frenchman who is unbeatable in the kitchen with a big tall chef's hat on, dealing with all the cameras and the cranes and the lighting.
Totally out of their depth. But they pulled it off. So these beautiful chefs have created a visual platform in which, as I've been saying, these wealthy French folks just fuck about in Hong Kong and later on in Bali, I understand.
Yeah.
It seems to me, because what I find interesting about these erotica films is that they don't really fill out the careers of the characters.
I mean, we don't know that. We didn't understand a lick of dialogue.
I know, but they don't spend any time doing jobs. No one spends any of their time doing whatever it is that they're supposed to do for a living. And so we're sort of left like with the, but also because it's softcore or erotica, the sex scenes are neither explicit nor especially lengthy. And so you've got an hour and a half film in which I would say about 15 to 20 minutes of it are taken up by some version of erotic play.
Yep.
And then sort of 60 to 70 minutes of just like these people in beautiful environments.
Which I'm quite into. It was kind of cool because... And it's probably not possible to discern absolutely, but I'm pretty sure the very gorgeous man was a phenomenal actor. He looked like I was believing him. I don't know what he was conveying.
Anyone who's acting in not English has an immediate running start, I think, because if you even with subtitles actually, you can't be critical of the nuance of the way they're talking or line reads or options because you don't fucking understand what they're saying.
Especially when he's that dazzlingly handsome.
Yeah,
it really threw me. But I was trying to figure out, is that tub boy? Because I'm pretty sure when he was in the tub, he had a mustachio. And then when we saw him out of the tub, he didn't. But then, right at the end of the film, there's a mustachio gentleman who is a little more age appropriate for Anna Marie to...
That was a different guy at the end.
With.
So, yeah, the plot loosely follows Emmanuelle and Mr. Emmanuelle.
Mr. Mrs. Emmanuelle.
Tub boy, or bath boy, whatever you want to call him. And
Tubman.
When Emmanuelle arrives, Mr. Emmanuelle's actually been having a totally sanctioned affair with a woman who we will call Lisa. And Lisa has...
Did you just pluck Lisa out of nothing? Or have you been reading plot points?
I plucked it out of nothing.
He's reading notes, everyone. Just so
I'm
you
on the
know.
Wikipedia page now.
That's sick.
Anyway, Lisa has a stepdaughter. Lisa has some person who is in her ward who is called Anna Marie, and Emmanuelle befriends Anna Marie and finds out that Anna Maria, in spite of being beautiful, does not bone. And in Emmanuelle's book, this is a big no-no.
This is unacceptable.
So she takes Anna Maria under her wing. While doing so, by the way, she shows up to a dance class that Anna Maria is taking in the heart of a bustling Hong Kong.
Yeah. Looked like quite an advanced ballet course.
Totally walks into the class, stops it to say hello. The teacher goes, "Hey, you can't do that." Emmanuelle goes, "Okay," and then just lets herself into the teacher's office.
Yeah, that bit was in English and very funny. So you've got what I assume to be an incredibly high-level ballet instructor and 5 women who are learning. And they're like, they're going through their pliés and what have you. Second position. That's it. That's all I know. Oh, no, that's it.
A pirouette.
Yeah, fuck, that's what I was trying to remember too. Nice one. So Mrs. Emmanuelle bowls in there and taps Anna Marie, and the guy just says in English, he's like, I'm so sorry. You can't interrupt the class while the dancers are training. It's like, yeah, man.
We both
Fucking
said,
A.
that's fucking right. And
Have you ever done ballet?
No, but
I think you'd actually be very good at it.
My
You've got a ballet body.
older sister did a lot of ballet. She got pretty good.
Yeah?
But you got to really want it.
Fucking A.
It's really hardcore.
Yeah.
One of the most hardcore things you can do.
Yeah, I've seen the feet. It looks like it's very damaging.
It looks cool, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that, the hordes of professional ballerinas who are listening to this program absolutely love me summarizing the entirety of their life's work as looking cool.
Yeah.
But I never really fucked with it myself. But so upon the rejection of her rude behavior, the ballet teacher says, "Don't do that." And Emmanuelle says, "Okay, I'm just going to go into your office and start fucking around with your stuff."
Yeah.
Amongst the ballet teacher's stuff is this, would you call it a pictograph?
Yeah, that sounds good. It's some sort of it looks like a set of binoculars almost. Those old school ones that you get on top of the Empire State Building. You know the ones. You drop a 25-cent piece in. Does anyone call them that? A quarter. You put a quarter in it and then you can have a look around and stuff. Except instead of a magnified image of New York City, when Emmanuelle looks into this thing, it's actually like this animated erotica short film. Which is fucking dope. It's like the original We Are Your Friends, where there's that cutscene to all the animation. Yeah.
Pretty much, she watches it. There is a woman who is bent over in exactly the same position as the person who's using this, what did I call it? Pictograph. And lo and behold, someone approaches that person from behind and sticks their bloody beak in between their legs.
Yeah, it's the ballet instructor.
And yea, verily, the same thing happens to Emmanuelle in real life.
It was a cool cartoon. I thought it looked cool. I like the art style. I'm a big fan of I don't know what it's called, but that kind of line art where everything's very sort of bold and simplified. I think that looks cool, and that's kind of the style.
Can I just go back to Americans calling it a quarter?
Yeah.
A quarter of what?
$1.
Exactly. What's $1?
100 cents.
They understand the concept of things making it to 100.
Yeah.
Why the fuck do they apply this to their money and nothing else? If they want to do it, they should go whole hog.
I'm pretty sure it was living legend. God, I hope he doesn't die between now and when this comes out. Former President Jimmy Carter had a real effort at trying to convert the rest of everything to metric. And the Americans, man, they wouldn't stand for it.
I think someone needs...
Because they associate very strange things with a sense of freedom.
I think that they need to take their concept of money and introduce the imperial system to that. So they don't get the satisfaction of $1 equaling exactly 100 cents. It's some sort of weird fucking open-ended mess.
What did we have? Because we had imperial until 1967 in New Zealand. And they were
we're doing fine now, everybody. If anything, we're doing better.
Do you remember when the notes changed from paper to plastic in
Yeah.
this country? So my friend was in the army in basic training where you just get completely cut off from life, and it happened while he was gone. He came back and all the currency was different. Really fucking got him. It's just quite freaky. It's quite it's kind of low level, but it's so pervasive that all the money changes while you're away for a set number of months, you know? It's quite a weird thing to come back into society with. It's like, fuck, you guys changed all the money. There was a weird thing to switch while I was gone.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like
fun.
our money.
It's good.
Australia's got the best money, then Canada, then
I haven't
us.
seen Canadian money. What do they got over there? Ruples?
Yeah, they use
Shekels?
RuPauls.
Shekels are cents and rupauls are like dollars for Canadians.
They just use the colourful fucking scheme that we used as well.
Oh, that's nice. A lot of orange, a lot of purple.
I don't know. There are spiritual
We've got magic
counterparts.
mushrooms on our one. It's on the 10.
Yeah, we've got some blue meanies. No, they're on the 50.
Oh, yeah. The 50.
On the back.
Yeah.
They're fucking sitting there begging to be plucked and eaten.
The Reserve Bank will tell you otherwise, but we all know. We know what mushrooms they are. We know really. So anyway, back to the film. Emmanuelle de.
Yeah, so Emmanuelle Bone's the ballet teacher, and she just keeps this friendship up. She fucks a guy at a polo club, and eventually her and Mr. Emmanuelle,
Mr. and Mrs. Emmanuelle,
go to Bali. There's this beautiful 10-minute sequence which isn't to do with sex or the furthering of the story at all. It's just some traditional Balinese performance piece.
That was awesome.
And then there's a three-way to end things.
What did you think that was? Because it looked like to me like a... I actually did leave halfway through, I think, to make noodles. But it kind of looked to me like a... what are they called? Like a rite of passage into adulthood. What are they called? Most cultures have them. It's,
a bar mitzvah.
Well, yeah. But there's kind of a general word to describe
Coming of age.
Yeah, that kind
a
of
coming
thing.
of age film.
Like it's a Emmanuelle de, a real coming of age film. And an age of coming. Hey-oh.
There you go.
That's what that ceremonial performance looked to me as being. A sort of welcoming of someone into adulthood.
Yeah.
We don't have that in kind of...
I mean, can I just take a
culture,
step back?
We've got 21st. Where
Yeah.
you wait until 21, where you're definitely, like, it's too late to be doing it, and then we poison you with alcohol.
You drink a yard glass of beer
Or
for no real reason.
a bootful.
Either way,
done a shoey guy?
No.
I've done a shoey once. Just once, though.
And
It's just beer.
out of a shoe.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
gross.
it's disgusting. I just want to say, because in talking about this now, it's clear to me that neither of us really, aside from admiring the aesthetics, had an experience with this film. You and I just settled up next to each other again at about 1 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon to watch an hour and a half of French erotica with no entry or reference point. Also,
What a life we live.
Boner Patrol,
Yep.
nothing over here.
Yeah.
Not even the whisper of a boner I had last time. I mean, I want this series to get to America so they can start fucking it up, take us to space.
Yeah.
These are competently made skin flicks that leave very little for us to unpick.
Especially because we aren't French, and especially with this one because we didn't have subtitles. We're essentially watching art house films that tend toward the erotic.
Yeah.
Because the 70s had a slightly more conservative view of what you could do on screen, I think. So, like, even though this was probably judged as pornography back, softcore, admittedly, pornography back in the day, I very much put this in the genre of erotica just because it's so, like, beautifully done.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to, like, travel around, create some storylines, introduce people, do some good acting.
It's confident, languid filmmaking.
Yeah.
They're not rushing anything. They're saying, hey, this is what we want to have the camera on, and we're going to keep the camera on this for as long as we like.
Doesn't that feel nice? Like, at times it gets a little long in the tooth,
I mean,
but I like the slower pace of content. Can I say that dirty C word on this podcast?
Yeah.
I'm just absorbing so much shit that's been made recently, and admittedly, like, it's got my brain jacked up on Netflix juices, getting me hooked for that next episode on how the Roys will survive this particular scandal. But it's nice to see a movie from the 70s where we can just take a breath, have a look at the beautiful lighting that someone spent a lot of time doing, and actually appreciate some craftsmanship. It's fine work.
This movie's not afraid to show you the following body parts.
Go.
Asses.
Yes.
Nipples.
Yes.
Pubic mounds.
Yes, but
I'll
no
tell
lower.
you what you won't see.
Yeah.
A hog.
Not one solitary sausage.
That's called Emmanuelle. It should be called not one hog.
It probably is in French. We just misinterpreted the subtitle. There was no hogs. It was a hog-free zone in Emmanuelle 1, I believe.
I reckon all these films are going to be hog-free.
Yeah.
But isn't it interesting to think that a flaccid penis
Yep.
would be I feel like in the context of this film, a flaccid penis would be permissible. I would not be surprised if we came across a few flaccid peni.
That's the rule in broadcasting.
Flaccid
Fine.
Flaccid all day. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. Erect peni. Go to Dubai.
Go nine-eye because it's nighttime
Yeah.
and this shit's not fit for broadcast. I mean, if I chart what a boner is not always loaded with eroticism. Sometimes you have a boner for no reason at all.
Stop sexual. I want to normalize desexualized boners. Or
That's
however
what
that
I'm
meme
talking
goes.
about. Yeah, normalize a random boner.
Your
one was better.
There is a massage scene, and I use the term incredibly loosely, where a bunch of... So it's kind of a nice family outing in a way, because I feel like they've taken Anna Maria or Maria?
Anna Maria.
Very important I get that right. They've taken Anna Maria to, get a rub down, basically. And these Balianese, I don't know, ostensibly massage therapists of a degree,
Yeah.
just take all their clothes off and just rub all against their bodies. And I was like, oh yeah, and also there's a fucking acupuncture scene, and man, they chuck a needle in her. It's under your tongue. I've forgotten what that muscle's
find
called.
acupuncture, the very concept of it, so intense. The needles, I really get, even now I get quite squeamish. They have a couple coming out the sides of it in her temples.
In her temple, which
and one in her tongue.
There's dangerous.
And it sends her into an absolute frenzy. She has a powerful erotic dream while Bath Boy watches on. And within her erotic dream, her and Bath Boy are having at it. But in the actual acupuncture therapist's room, she's just masturbating while he watches.
Yeah, with some needles in her temples and stuff. Acupuncture is so interesting. So you haven't had it done yourself?
No.
I haven't either, but I'd really like to. It's quite fascinating because, the Western medical perspective doesn't fully understand how it works, but does recognize that it is effective. So,
absolutely.
In New Zealand, we've got this thing called ACC, which is the Accident Compensation Corporation. And it was established so that people wouldn't sue the fuck out of each other. We looked over at America and we were like, hey, this looks bad. How do we avoid it? So we developed the ACC, which everyone pays a little over 1% of their income into. And then if you get a sporting injury, hit by a car, you fall off some fucking rocks while you're going for a tramp, whatever the fuck, if you incur an injury from that and you're unable to work as a consequence, you will generally get paid 80% of your income. ACC will fund restorative therapies, medically proven, clinically borne out therapeutics, and acupuncture is part of that because it is so proven effective. They don't know how it works, but they're like, this definitely does work.
The ACC covers a wide range of things which you would think, acupuncture is very much inside of the medical ouvre, but there was one
I didn't really know it was.
Chelsea,
to me, it sounds very alternative.
that my partner was doing. I can't remember what it's called. Osteopathy or
osteopathy.
Yeah, but it's something like a sort of woo-woo scalp massage.
Is it?
Yeah, that she
woo.
was.
Don't say woo-woo.
Well, that's how she described it to me.
Oh,
She said, I can't believe this is covered by ACC. It's pretty woo-woo for the ACC.
Did it work for her?
Yeah, she enjoys them. I don't know that it's meant to work per se. There's no
therapeutic
there's no desired outcome.
A lot of that shit, I reckon, is probably just about relaxing you. Because if your body gets all tense, it fucks out,
Yeah.
And that is why I do mushrooms.
On the 26th of September in 2006, an IMDb user named Falconair reviewed Emmanuelle 2 and under the banner, a true erotic film. As a softcore feature, Emmanuelle 2 stands out as one of the very best of its kind. Artfully rendered, beautifully photographed love or sex scenes that really push the limits on just how far a film could go. This is a sequel to one of the most successful erotic movies of all time. I can report, in all honesty, that it is a rare instance where the sequel is better than the original. While the first Emmanuelle film by Just Jacquin is somehow dark and murky, Emmanuelle 2 is bright and filled with life and with genuine eroticism.
Yeah.
Our Boner Patrol report would suggest otherwise, but by all means, Falconer, boner away. Obviously, this feature had a much larger budget than its predecessor, and it shows. The viewer was introduced to the infamous Emmanuelle character in 1974. She was a shy, quiet woman of 19, married to an older man who had very different views of sex. In that film, we witnessed the beginning of her sexual awakening. In this sequel, we see Emmanuelle developed into an incredibly strong, liberated woman who goes about her sexual conquests like a drunken sailor.
Like a drunken, and sometimes with drunken, or among drunken sailors in one scene.
That's right. At one point, according to Wikipedia, Emmanuelle masquerades inside of a brothel in Hong Kong and uses her successful masquerading as an opportunity to engage in group sex with some sailors. And can I say, looks like everyone's having a fucking hell of a time.
Yeah, man. It's a good way to spend a day.
All made more impressive when you consider the fact, this is not the review, this is Guy Montgomery talking, that Sylvia Christel, who plays the titular Emmanuelle, got an eye infection in her left eye during the making of this movie. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I hate to hear it. She got pink eye.
She got an infection in her eye.
Conjunctivitis.
It could have been anything.
That sucks. That sucks for her. I was reading a little bit about her, actually. Sylvia Christel.
Yeah.
A lot of ups and downs in her life, I will say that. And unfortunately, as is the case with so many figures in the entertainment industry, didn't really get the money that it seems like she deserved. One particular incident involved her selling the rights to a film which went on to be very successful to her agent for kind of a quick buck, effectively. And I think she missed out on a small fortune as a result. She also, I read on her wiki page, she tried to be a Bond girl multiple times. Like there were so many films where she tried to be one, and it didn't go into the whys or wherefores. But I suspect, and this is the fucking hypocrisy of it all, isn't it? That the Bond franchise would be like, no, we want a hypersexualized woman that people have not seen the nipples of, because that would ruin it.
Yeah. You can't have your nipples on record and apply to be a Bond man or girl. Why do we call them girls? Why don't we call them a Bond woman?
Because it was the fucking 50s.
Yeah, we got to fetishize that shit. Can I just continue? Falconer gets into the sort of particulars.
Falconer sounds like he knows what he's talking about. I want to hear more from Falconer.
Gorgeous soundtrack by celebrated composer Francis Lai.
Hit pause, Guy, because I would like to also extensively comment on this wonderful original score. It was so cool. There was a lot of synth instrumentation, and it was quite soaring in parts. There were scenes that I watched where I was going, man, if this was not scored, this would be boring as batshit.
The massage scene, for example.
Yeah.
Because
it's like 10 minutes long, just a lot of bodies rubbing on bodies.
Erotica is quite tantric because it was it was essentially 5 to 10 minutes of these three masseuses, and I'm using inverted commas here, stripping down and just... I mean, they're not. It doesn't look like it qualifies for therapeutic massage. It's more a mental sort of relaxation. They just rub the entirety of their bodies on the backs of those people they're massaging.
It seemed to me to be a lot focused on connecting your breasts to various parts of your client's body.
Absolutely,
that seemed to be the goal.
And I respect it because there was no end game.
Yeah,
there were suds, but there were no orgasms, and that's a classy fucking experience.
That's what makes it erotica, my dude. But it was scored by this fantastic soundtrack, which sounded like it was composed partially on whatever keyboard they used to do the Commodore 64 game music, you know?
Yeah.
Whizball, baby. It sounded like that. It was just like dope-ass arpeggios going up and down on like a whatever the fuck.
I just want to continue.
Not a Hammond, I'll think of it later.
Falconer goes on to say that if you have an interest in erotic films, I recommend
not really.
You hunt this one down.
Oh, God, okay.
I have the DVD from the Netherlands, which I believe is the most uncut version available.
The most uncut, okay.
I also recommend seeing... This guy's reviewing a fucking Coke from Burger King like it's, you know, a wine. I also recommend seeing the original first. It is not as good as this one, however, it is still a very good and important film, as that is the one that started it all. Plus, it's nice to see a character of erotic films actually develop and change throughout a series. I cannot, however, this is just for us now, Tim.
Okay.
I cannot, however, recommend most of the others in the series, with the exception of the very rare Yellow Emmanuelle and a couple of Laura Gemser films, as they range from bad to ridiculous. This stuff is worlds better than much of the ugly corporate crap that comes out of Hollywood these days.
You laugh, but he's right, I assume.
But I feel like
we're about to find that out.
He's not talking about
Emmanuelle.
Yeah, when he talks about the comparison with Hollywood, I don't know that he's talking about erotica. It's like he's measuring a 1970s
right.
French softcore
Emmanuelle
pornography
versus
film.
The Fast and the Furious.
Exactly. I'm just checking out what other films Falconer likes to review.
Yeah, fair enough too.
And they all appear to be of a pretty similar genre.
I'm going to pick A Shining Light. Are we doing that in this season?
Do you know what genre of film it is?
What?
That this guy seems to like reviewing?
What? Pornography?
Yeah. And he's been doing it for 14 years.
He's been dead for 14 years. 14 years is a long fucking time to be reviewing porn.
Also, that would mean that in 2006, when he registered on IMDb, that was one of his first reviews. And can I say, Falconer, if you're listening, you did a fucking good job.
Yeah, well done, man. Way to knock it out of the park. My shining light, thanks for asking, guy. Definitely the polo scene, because in spite of, by cultural osmosis, me having a sense of knowing what polo was, I don't think I'd ever fucking seen it. Not with my own peepers, not in real life or on any kind of screen, like in a film, television, nothing. It looks obscenely dangerous. Let's get on a really fast version of a cow and attach a
Is that how you think of horses?
Yeah, really fast cows. Beautiful, fast cows.
Can horses not exist without having to be compared to a different animal?
Well, I think it's a good reference point.
Size-wise.
If you're going to be a jerk about it, sure, but...
Cows' bodies go closer to the ground. There's a huge chasm between a horse's stomach.
That's why they're slower. What do I call them? There's a fast horse. A fast, beautiful cow. Anyway, we got that going on and all that entails. They also can be kind of grumpy. You never get a grumpy cow.
Yes, you do.
And then you put a huge hammer in your fucking hand and everyone's chasing this tiny ball. What's that all about? You rich people with too much time on your hands and not enough to do. You gotta focus. Get some proper projects. Work in the community. Something. Get a farm. Get a little block of land and work with your hands. You will feel better about yourself and the planet if you just ground yourself in the earth a little bit. Take your shoes off. Walk around. Survey your crops. There is no need for these beautiful, quick cows to be chasing after a little ball with big old hammers just because we're bored.
My shining light was when Tub Boy, there's a huge propeller.
I forgot about the fucking propeller.
There's a massive propeller in this movie. I'd call it a sort of Hughes's propeller. And
it's the third lead.
It haunts a few of the scenes. It's just in the background of frame, or it's just this massive unused propeller. And there was one scene where Tub Boy was shirtless. He was outside. And you better believe he was oiling up that propeller real good and proper. And that was the whole scene. He gave a beer to his friend, Jean, Mr. Emmanuelle, while he watched him grease the propeller.
Who poured it terribly, as you noticed.
Because we don't understand what's happening, every scene is laced with a certain amount of potential eroticism because we don't know, we're lurching from scene to scene here and we've only got our instincts to follow whether or not something sexual is about to happen. And the scene was so beautifully shot and this propeller was so beautifully oiled that I swore to God, I thought that Tub Boy was going to sit on that fucking propeller.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't. And that was the right decision.
Yeah, probably for the best.
But that scene was a delight.
The propeller never was explained also. Well, I guess we can't fucking understand what people are saying. I'm making some pretty big generalizations based on me not understanding a lick of the dialogue of this film. But, why was it there, man? We had a big ship at the start of the film, so maybe it was a prop on a boat or, a ship. But it looked to me like an aeroplane propeller.
It did.
Of a Cessna or something.
Yeah.
But then I don't think we saw a single dang aeroplane in this film.
No.
Not one hog, not one aeroplane.
Otherwise, most of the things you'd want.
Now, I got a question for you. Based on, what is his name again? Falconer?
Falconer.
It sounds like, based on what he said, and he sounds like a man who knows, that it's all downhill for us from here. How do you feel about that?
As the films get worse, the conversations get better. It's really difficult to pick apart what is, in essence, a pretty high-quality 1978 French erotica film when you don't have subtitles. And, you know, all we did was just spend a vaguely enjoyable, lightly stoned hour and a half watching erotica together.
With my dog.
With Rufus. And there's nothing...
Was that bad? Because he's young. He's only a little over a year old.
He was facing the wrong way 90% of the time.
That's true.
I think I'm excited for the films to get worse.
I want us to go to space. It's essentially a countdown. In the same way that Mission Control counts down before the rocket takes off, Guy and I are counting down, I believe, the 7 original Emmanuelle films before we get to the batshit crazy dumbass American ones.
Yeah.
But I don't think we go to space immediately.
It's interesting.
That's just one little sub-series.
We're going to be watching the degradation of a franchise.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating it. I'm looking forward to this series becoming worse.
Okay. It's a bit more in our wheelhouse, isn't it? We're not about the good films. It's not really.
It's not that. It's just like
do.
I don't even know if I have the necessary faculty to discuss these films in the terms in which they're meant to be discussed. I've got a brain. I've got a mouth. I've got a microphone.
Yeah, you do.
But I got no fucking idea what I'm looking for. I got no fucking idea what they're saying.
You're putting too much pressure on yourself. What do you think? Yeah, fucking Roger Ebert.
No, I don't think of myself as that. I'm just seeing if I've got any other notes. They use quite a cool device.
Okay, here we go.
They use it in the acupuncture scene. They use it again in the I keep forgetting what I called it. That film, that thingy in the corner.
What did you call it? Pictogram?
Pictograph or something. They use it in the acupuncture and the pictograph scene where
it's like a Viewmaster, everyone, but the frames are going quicker, so it looks animated.
There's this sort of beautiful duality in the storytelling that they really confidently apply, where she's very much having an experience in real life in the world, and it's going back and forth between that and a fantasy that's occurring simultaneously, or a reference point that's happening simultaneously. And I just want to congratulate Emmanuelle de Not One Hog for
cross-cutting.
For cross-cutting. But like in a language, in a genre with which I'm not familiar, it's just nice to see where you're not allowed to see a penis.
Yeah. It's so funny. So weird.
Have you got anything else to say?
No, man. Just loved seeing Emmanuelle smoke a cigar. 10 out of 10. This one, 10 out of 10. I'm going there. I'm doing it. I'm laying it on the line. Probably, I imagine, if I could hear the dialogue, a perfect one of these, which is an erotic film from the 70s.
What's the moral?
The moral of the story is, if you want something in this world, make a plan. Failing to plan is planning to fail.
Yeah. The moral for me...
And also, props look real good when you oil them up.
The moral for me is that there are no ill consequences to opening up your relationship. It doesn't create any confusion or opportunity for misunderstanding or even a shred of jealousy. It's the perfect solution, and it must be applied widely and immediately.